Queued up tonight on NightVision.
Everybody has a Molly in their life.
Her face is everywhere, but Iowa's Molly Tibbetts is still nowhere to be found.
We will not give up on you, and don't you give up on us.
But why is this Midwest girl capturing national headlines over other missing people? Could race be a factor? We zero in on unsolved cases right here in Arizona. Then, drunk driving.
How much have you had to drink tonight? Just 2 beers.
Booze has the Cardinals GM cruising straight for the slammer.
Registering a .193 as a DUI, that's inexcusable.
But is his arrest setting precedent for players on his team, giving them a pass to spiral out of control?
They needed to do something to make a statement to the community, and right now they just gave him a slap on the wrist.
Our Tim Ring is here to give us the play-by-play. And a shade of acceptance, not always found in every household.
That looks so freaking awesome. Thank you. Damn.
An Arizona teen gets all done up for his YouTube channel. His dad's reaction melted the hearts of millions.
Yeah, it was really insane to just keep refreshing my Twitter, and it's just like literally every second 20 people are liking it.
I don't know that every family operates that way. Do you know what I'm saying?
I do, and I don't think they do. But we've always been that way.
So is coming out of the closet a trend parents are now getting on board with? Tonight on Night Vision, we're taking a deeper look at a missing persons case that has garnered the attention of the entire country. We're talking about 20-year-old Molly Tibbetts from the Midwest. And breaking news just into our Night Vision studios tonight, the body of 20-year-old Molly Tibbetts has just been found this morning. The story we're focusing on tonight is the media attention surrounding missing person cases. There are tens of thousands of missing persons around the country, including right here in Arizona, that get a fraction of the media attention that Molly Tibbetts' case has received. Our question tonight, why is that? Night Vision correspondent Adriana Diaz has the magnifying glass on this issue tonight.
This year started with more than 88,000 active missing person records in the U.S. More than 41,000 of the missing are under 21 years old. That's enough to fill at least 495 standard school buses. Advocates say law enforcement lacks the resources to keep up with all open cases, warning that some can slip through the cracks.
You have to go find your own thing.
One that hasn't is 20-year-old Molly Tibbetts, who disappeared 3 weeks ago after going on a jog in Brooklyn, Iowa. Her boyfriend, Dalton Jack, who's not a suspect, says she has no enemies and no reason to run away.
I've never heard anybody say a bad word about her, and never heard her say a bad word about anybody.
People just loved her.
Yeah. It was hard not to.
Her disappearance has garnered national attention because it's rare, says Robert Lowry of the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children.
We always have a very small percentage, like we're seeing with Molly, where they just simply disappear and for no investigative reason or for any purpose that we can determine. And these what makes cases like Molly's the most difficult that anyone can face.
For records entered in 2017 where the reason for disappearance is known, 95.9% were runaways and 1% were abductions by a stranger. For those missing under 21, 53% are women, 57% are white, 37% are black.
The situation with Molly is so extraordinarily rare.
Laura Calderwood and Robert Tibbetts are Molly's parents.
When you think about the thousands of missing people that there are right now in the U.S., why do you think the whole country has focused and rallied around Molly?
You know, as somebody put it, it's the all-American girl who lives in a Norman Rockwell community in love with the boy next door vanishes into thin air. And so, poof, it doesn't make sense.
This is rare because she had no reason to run away.
None.
None.
She took out a lease. She was ordering sheets and bedding from Target. You know, I've told people I've got the sheets and I've got the bedding, but I don't have the girl.
So again, in the case of Molly Tibbetts, this beautiful missing girl, 20 years old from the Midwest, has garnered so much media hype and media attention. She's been on the cover of every major magazine across the U.S. She's been on every major network, The Today Show, CBS This Morning, even Good Morning America. So let's talk about the one thing that people are saying behind closed doors, but they're not talking about publicly. Does race play a factor when it comes to the media covering a missing persons case? Here in Arizona, we've got quite a few missing person cases. Let's take you back 30 years. 13-year-old Myron Taylor separated from his mom while they were walking to grandma's house. He went to buy a soda and he was never seen again. Then almost 2 decades ago, little Jacqueline Vasquez was abducted from a West Valley swap meet. She was just 4 months old at the time. And most recently, Kiera Bergman, the 19-year-old, vanished this month, just a few weeks ago, from her home near 51st Avenue in Thunderbird. She hasn't been seen or heard from since. And at this point, there's not a single search party trying to find this missing black woman. Kiera's mom, Kirsten, is joining us on Night Vision tonight. Kirsten, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I can only imagine how hard the past couple of weeks have been for you. How hard has it been?
It's been torture. It's my worst nightmare. No parent ever thinks they'll ever go through something like this, so it's been hard.
Kiera has this bright, magnetic smile about her. What was she like as a kid growing up?
She was adorable, cute, fun, funny, a handful, like most little kids are. She was just very much into fashion and makeup, and she'd do her makeup or her hair or wear all jewelry and take pictures, and she was a fun little girl.
They always talk about the first 48 hours. There are shows based on the first 48 hours. It is that crucial time period where investigators need to track down leads.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many criminal experts who have an opinion about missing person cases.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that your daughter is biracial, that she is black, there are so many tens of thousands of missing Hispanic and black children across the country that do not get the same attention as a Molly Tibbetts, a 20-year-old white girl from Iowa. Do you at all believe race has played a factor in the fact that there were no massive search teams for your daughter in the first 48 hours, that your daughter was not on the Today Show in the first 48 hours or Good Morning America?
I don't think so. I try not to look at it that way, because race is not a thing to me, I feel like the reason we've gotten so much attention with it is because my family and we want to find her, and we're trying to find out any outlet that we can that will share her story to get it out there. Monday was the first time I put it out on social media, and within a couple hours, it was thousands and thousands of it was shared. So I don't like to look at it in the race way, and we've reached out everywhere to get her story out there. So I've never once thought of it that way or tried to compare it to the Molly Tibbetts case. So
let's talk a little bit about Kiera's ex-boyfriend. You've met him before. What was your first impression of Kiera's ex?
I didn't really care for him. I didn't get a good feeling from him. He just seemed very. I don't know how to explain it. I do know
something seemed off.
Yeah, and I do know with my husband was very, was affected by it because, for us, we feel like if you're gonna meet your girlfriend's parents, or even the dad, you shake their hand and you talk to them, and he didn't want to do that, and
he's in jail tonight, not on any charges about the disappearance of your daughter, on fraud charges, but they are holding him without bond.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe your daughter is still alive?
I want to believe that. That's my prayer, that she is still out there and we're going to find her and be able to bring her home. But of course, with the amount of time she's been missing, that's going to be a thought in my head that she's not, still alive, and which freaks me out, because if she's not, her body's out there somewhere, and who knows what is happening to it,
Do you believe her ex-boyfriend played a role in her disappearance?
I think he knows something, whether he's directly responsible or indirectly, he knows something that he's not sharing. And my husband and I have done really good with not saying that in any of our interviews with any media, because we don't want to put the blame on him because we don't know for sure what has happened. But I mean, of course we have that feeling like he knows something and he's not sharing. So, yeah.
What's the one message you want viewers to know about your daughter, Kiara?
She's a wonderful, wonderful young woman. She's very sweet and caring and beautiful, and she's very creative, and just, I mean, she's a great person. Like, she does not deserve what has happened to her or is happening to her. I mean, nobody deserves what could be happening. So, you know, we want her home. We want to find her and we want to bring her home.
Next on Night Vision.
How much have you had to drink tonight? Just 2 beers.
A bad play leaves the head of the Arizona Cardinals behind bars and benched.
You know, I came down hard on him, and he knew that was going to be the case.
5 weeks, I just don't think it was enough.
Was the punishment enough to scare players from getting into trouble with the law?
He could have seriously hurt or killed someone being on the road at that point.
And later, makeup for girls, makeup for boys. The awesome reaction from a Valley dad.
A lot of dads might not have had that same reaction.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the reason why it went viral.
An Arizona teen glamming up for the camera. His dad teaching us all a lesson about acceptance.
We live in a world that's not what it was 20 years ago. My first gut response is to get over it.
There was a lot of positivity, but it was also kind of sad to see so many people that didn't have that support at home. And that's something we definitely need to change.
How this viral video has started a colorful conversation in the LGBT community. Waiting for the guards. New video of Cardinals GM knocking on jail's door. Steve Keim turning himself in tonight after pleading guilty today to extreme DUI. Steve Keim is going to spend the next 48 hours behind bars in a jail cell. As for the team, they're throwing a penalty flag tonight. Steve Keim is going to be disciplined. He's going to spend 5 weeks suspension. He's also going to face a fine. As far as his job's concerned, his job is safe. Night Vision correspondent Derek Stahl is at the jail tonight.
The story's been going all day long.
Inside a Tempe pizza joint.
5-week suspension, $200,000.
The talk on AM 1580 The Fanatic was all about Steve Keim's suspension.
I look at that and go, okay, the 5 weeks, I just don't think it was enough.
Registering a .193 as a DUI, that's inexcusable. He could have seriously hurt or killed someone being on the road at that point. They needed to do something to make a statement to the community, and right now they just gave him a slap on the wrist.
How much have you had to drink tonight? Just 2 beers. 2 beers?
Keim was arrested on the 4th of July. Blood tests showed he had more than 2 times the legal limit.
Steve Keim is absolutely the person that will, I think, sincerely, truly say this is a big mistake.
That's former NFL kicker Nick Lowery.
Steve is, I think, one of the best general managers in the National Football League, and I think he's going to get past this because the players know he's real. And frankly, I think he'll communicate that. Then it has to be consistent, not just for a month, not just for a year, but for the next, 10 years at least.
Keim's arrest comes about a year and a half after then Cardinals receiver Michael Floyd was arrested for extreme DUI. Floyd was kicked off the team.
I think Michael Floyd had a history, though, of transgressions before getting to Arizona and even in Arizona.
Eric Cohen of 1580 says he doesn't think Cardinals players will see a double standard.
As far as Steve Keim goes, this is a mistake, but I don't think the Cardinals team is going to take it out on him. Steve Keim's arrest is not the first for the Arizona Cardinals. In fact, in just the past 2 years, 3 big-time players have been busted for behaving badly. One of the players we're talking about tonight, last month, tight end Ricky Seals-Jones was put in handcuffs. A hotel staffer in Scottsdale blames him for getting too pushy after they told him he couldn't use their bathroom.
So you tried to take a piss. You're like, hey, I need to get inside. I have to pee, right?
Hotel staff says they told him the bathroom was for guests only. Apparently he didn't like that answer, so he reportedly shoved an employee. Police say he was drunk at the time. Next on the roster, Marquise Bundy, the wide receiver, was arrested outside of a Scottsdale nightclub for not listening to police officers.
You're under arrest.
This happened back in April 2017. Police have yet to release further details on this encounter, only saying this, that Bundy is facing disorderly conduct. And then who could forget this? Michael Floyd's arrest almost 2 years ago. Cops found him unconscious behind the wheel. He was passed out with his foot on the brake, sitting at a red light.
Scottsdale police.
Floyd was drunk, more than twice the legal limit. He was charged with drunk driving, and he ended up getting released from the Arizona Cardinals. No one knows Valley sports better than Tim Ring. Tim Ring is joining us on NightVision tonight. Thank you for being here.
You bet.
Question tonight, do the Cardinals have a booze problem?
Well, I mean, does society have a booze problem? I mean, you know, Steve Keim, look, Brandon, I will not sit here tonight and defend Steve Keim. I will not excuse Steve Keim. I would have to say if Steve Keim were sitting in my seat right now, he would not defend.
You would lose your job. If you did what Steve Keim did, you would lose your job. I would lose my job.
And other Cardinals have lost their jobs as well. But I think you have to look at you can't look at it in a vacuum, right? You have to look at each case individually. But we start with Steve Keim, and I think, you know, and this goes to not only professional sports, but really, you know, any professional workplace. The more important you are to the bottom line revenue-wise to that company, the more important you are to, in professional sports, winning games, the bigger leash, the longer leash you're going to have when it comes to making missteps like this. As serious as this misstep was for Steve Keim,
huge.
The fact that he has been an exemplary employee, he's been a good GM.
It's his second DUI.
Yeah, and he's been a good GM, and he's a good father, and he's a good man. All that goes into it. There is no question about it. He has made a mistake, and now he's made it twice. Okay, and the Cardinals certainly have a credibility problem on their hands when it comes to disciplining players in the future. I don't think Steve Keim can be that guy anymore, at least not for a while.
Right.
Maybe give it a year, maybe give it 2 years. That when a player slips up, he's in Mike Bidwell's office now. He's in Steve Wilkes' office now. I just don't think you can trot out Steve Keim in front of these players right now and have him drop the hammer.
You know, is this a hyper-local problem with the Cardinals, or does just about every NFL team dealing with these off-season issues of their players going out, disorderly conduct, the DUIs, the extreme DUIs, is this like an NFL, every team's got its issues, or is this a Cardinal
100%,
problem?
but we've seen Phoenix Suns members get DUIs as well. I mean, you know, I don't know, the percentages of players in professional sports that get DUIs, what is that to the national average, to regular, you know, the population? You know, the bottom line is that I think when it comes to professional athletes, you just ask yourself why. Is it hubris? Is it ignorance? Like, what is, I mean, it is so easy in 2018 to hit a button on your phone and have a ride come pick you up.
Uber and Lyft.
I don't understand it. You want to just, especially these guys who make millions of dollars a year.
Steve Keim.
What, just call an Uber, call a Lyft. And I don't, you know, we could get in for a half hour the different reasons on why guys don't do that.
But
I don't
Steve
understand
Keim
it.
is the GM, and I know you were talking about how he has been a good leader for the team over, you know, the past decade or so, more than a decade. But doesn't the guy at the very top set the precedent and set the example for the entire team? So now if you have a Sam Bradford or if you have your center, go out to Old Town Scottsdale, get boozed up and drunk, they get busted by the cops, they go to their agent and they go to Steve Keim. Well, wait a second, Steve, you got 2 DUIs and one of them's an extreme DUI. How are you going to fire me?
That's right, and that's why I think Mike Bidwell now has to be that guy for any disciplinary action for the Cardinals going forward. I don't think they can trot Steve Keim out to be that guy anymore. But Brandon, again, this goes back to the fact that, you know, you look at the Michael Floyd case when he got released right away, so essentially fired by the Cardinals. It wasn't just about the DUI. The Cardinals didn't want to cut Michael Floyd. He was a first-round pick. He was a good player for them. But Michael Floyd showed no remorse. He did not inform the team immediately when it happened. Michael Floyd has had alcohol issues in the past. The Cardinals asked him to potentially get some help in that regard.
But he's a star player.
But he refused, though, Brandon. Michael Floyd basically said, screw you guys. I'm not going to get help. I don't have a problem. Mike Bidwell said, you know what? We're going to cut you loose. Okay? And
so you're essentially saying if you're a star player,
100%.
You got more room for error.
100%. Brandon, back in the day, Jimmy Johnson, coach of the Cowboys, a running back named Sherman Williams fell asleep in a meeting, and Jimmy Johnson cut him the next day. Can't fall asleep in meetings. And somebody in the media said, well, what if Troy Aikman or Emmitt Smith or Michael Irvin fell asleep in a meeting? He goes, no, we wouldn't cut them.
Right.
So that's a double standard that exists, and whether or not you agree with it or not, that's not going to change. That is not going to change.
Next on Night Vision.
That looks so freaking awesome. Thank you.
A heartfelt reaction.
You don't see it very often, a dad supporting his son doing makeup.
This viral video striking a chord across the globe. How this Father of the Year is giving other parents a tutorial on acceptance.
I'm hoping that the takeaway is, wow, this dad and this family is loving their child.
An Arizona teenager has his dad to thank for turning him into a viral sensation. His dad walked in on his son in his bedroom, putting makeup on. The reaction you're about to see tonight is definitely not the norm in our country. It's probably the reason why so many people are so captivated by it. Night Vision correspondent Jared Dillingham with the father and son tonight.
Social media is full of noise and nonsense, but every once in a while something more meaningful breaks through, like a video recorded recently in Flagstaff.
And the colors just blend so beautifully together. And
This teenager was applying makeup when his dad walked in. His father's reaction was caught off camera, and it's not what you might expect.
That looks so freaking awesome. Thank you. Damn.
We met 18-year-old Andrew Edgerton at home in his northern Arizona bedroom/studio.
So you're new to the whole YouTube world?
Yeah.
Kind of relatively new.
Yeah.
His short clip posted to Twitter
That looks so freaking awesome.
got more than 6 million views in just days.
Yeah, it was really insane to just keep refreshing my Twitter, and it's just like literally every second 20 people are liking it.
People worldwide responded to the genuine, spur-of-the-moment, authentic interaction between father and son over makeup.
What do you think it says about your dad?
That he's an amazing parent.
I was just heading up the stairs, poked my head in, and that look was quite amazing. It just happened to be caught on film, which is a good thing.
While millions in the internet world are celebrating this father and son here in Flagstaff, there is, of course, another side to this story. Andrew says all the exposures made him realize that not all families are quite so supportive.
A lot of dads might not have had that same reaction.
Yeah. And I think that's part of the reason why it went viral, is because you don't see it very often, a dad supporting his son doing makeup.
And it was something for me to take a second look at, like, oh, he's putting on mascara. But I realized pretty quickly that he's my kid, and so if he's going to wear mascara, then he's going to wear mascara. And
Andrew's parents bought him his first makeup kit a couple years ago.
I don't know that every family operates that way. Do you know what I'm saying?
I do, and I don't think they do, but we've always been that way.
I can already see the emails I'm going to get about this story, that a lot of people are not okay with boys wearing makeup or nails and putting it out on YouTube for the world to see.
My first gut response is to get over it. Like, we live in a world that's not what it was 20 years ago.
Still, the Human Rights Campaign's new 2018 youth survey found widespread unacceptance in American homes. 2/3 of LGBTQ youth hear their families make homophobic comments. About half of them say their families make them feel bad for being LGBTQ. Only a quarter say they can be themselves at home.
That's heartbreaking.
A heartbreak Justin Jones knows firsthand. He became homeless after his family found out he's gay.
They found out through social media.
Mm-hmm. And when they did find out, it wasn't easy, right?
It wasn't easy at all.
They went silent?
Completely. Blocked me on Facebook, not talking to me, and I started couch surfing.
Essentially, you were homeless for a little while, right?
Yeah.
Justin found housing through the 1 in 10 organization, which helps an alarming number of teens whose parents do not accept them.
We try and support them with basic needs, but also getting them into housing and finding that community that can kind of stand behind them.
And you're talking about some very young children who end up on the streets.
Specifically, a case that we had just a few months ago was our 14-year-old. She was kicked out for coming out as a lesbian.
The pain and trauma of parents not accepting their children endures.
And it's been 5 years or so. Does it still hurt?
I mean, of course.
Against the odds, Justin rebounded, and he's now a youth ambassador for the Human Rights Campaign, hoping his story will teach and inspire. much the way Andrew and his dad hope their viral video will also have an effect.
So I'm hoping that the takeaway is, wow, this dad and this family is loving their child no matter
Andrew's feeling the love from people worldwide.
My Instagram has went from like 800 people to now almost 30,000, so it's insane.
While this U of A business student hopes to monetize his newfound internet fame, he also hopes it hits a nerve.
Do you think we've learned anything from millions of people watching you put eyeshadow on?
Yeah, I guess so. There was a lot of positivity, but it was also kind of sad to see so many people that didn't have that support at home, and that's something we definitely need to change.
What we just witnessed in that story is truly remarkable. Think about that. Think about what we all just witnessed. This machismo dad walks in on his son putting on makeup. Dad doesn't get angry, dad doesn't get upset, not even embarrassed. No, this dad just told his kid, I love you no matter what. I love you even if you choose to put on makeup. I love you even if you are gay. It hasn't always been this way. Many of you already know because of social media that I too am gay. I came out when I was just about 19. I was actually outed by another kid in high school. And it wasn't easy as a young kid and a teenager knowing that there was truly something different about me. My parents didn't have the same warm reaction as that father did. No, my parents didn't like it. My parents did not understand. Many kids are kicked out of the house when they come out of the closet. Some parents, they feel a sense of shame. They feel embarrassed about having a gay or even a trans child. Here's what I hope we all learn from this story, that being gay isn't easy, especially as a kid. But the most crucial relationship for any gay child is knowing that their parents love them unconditionally and that they will always be there for them when the bullies at school make fun of their child, that the parents will always look into their child's eyes and say, you are perfect just as you are. If we want to end bullying, it begins at home. It begins with the parents. If we had more dads like the dad you just saw in that last story, this entire world would be a much better place for all of us. Thanks for being with us tonight here on Night Vision. Check us out on YouTube, share this show on social media so that your friends, your family, they can join in on this conversation. We hope to see you back here tomorrow night.